how much is this gun worth? Some of you have some old historical guns laying around, and maybe it's worth a lot, maybe it's not. But today we're talking with Joel Kolander from Rock Island Auction Company, and they sell guns for millions of dollars. This Gun Talk Nation is brought to you by Franklin Armory and SAUER. Welcome into Gun Talk Nation. So today on Gun Talk Nation, one of the areas that people enjoy guns is collecting, right? And sometimes guns are investments. Sometimes they're fancy. Sometimes they're scarce. Sometimes they're class 3. Woo! But today on the show, we've got Joel Kolander with Rock Island Auction. Welcome in, Joel.
Hi, good to be here.
It's so funny. There's Rock Island in the Quad Cities area is like this little like secret bed of gun world. I mean, you guys, obviously Springfield Armory is there. Rock Island Armory is a different thing, but it still has that name. But you guys have been at it a while, and I think some people are aware of you. Some people go, wait, is that like the Rock Island like Armory? No. So maybe explain who you guys are and what you do. What's the background?
Sure. Yeah, we're a Rock Island Auction Company. We get confused a lot with Rock Island Armory, which is, ArmsCore, the sort of entry-level products that are, I think, based out of the Philippines. And we also get confused a lot with the Rock Island Arsenal, which if you're a fan of World War I era bolt actions, you know all about what they did on that little island in the Mississippi. But we're Rock Island Auction Company. We're the number one firearms auction house in the world, and by a pretty large margin.
Yeah. So, and you guys have been at it a while. Explain kind of you're an auction house and you do a bunch of different things. And recently, I think I know you guys as doing some very historical stuff, but you've done some pop culture type guns as well. Talk about some of the recent ones in the last year or two that have popped up that are getting people's attention.
Sure. Well, it's been a really exciting year as far as fine arms collecting. Some of the most expensive guns ever sold have sold in the last 12 months. We were fortunate enough to have one of those. It was earlier this May. We sold a pair of Remington revolvers that belonged to Ulysses S. Grant, and they sold for $5.17 million.
Wow. But you guys are having auctions, what is it, pretty much monthly? Is that right?
Yeah, even a little more frequently. So, and we kind of have three tiers of auctions, if you will. We have our premier firearms auctions. Those are the ones you hear about most, whether that's, Ulysses S. Grant's revolvers. We sold a Han Solo's blaster this August for just over $1 million. That made quite a bit of news in quite a bit of places.
Yeah.
Those are the premier auctions. We have 3 of those per year. The second or middle one is our sporting and collector auctions. A lot of usable firearms in those, whether it's hunting, whether it's plinking, whether it's defense, or some what I like to call like entry-level collectibles. They're not quite as pristine as our premier auction ones, but they're still darn good. You'll still find a Henry rifle. It's just not going to be as pristine as you would find it in our premier. And then monthly, and sometimes more than once a month, we have our arms and accessories auction. That's the only auction we have. There's no live audience. It's all done online. You can watch them all streaming. It's kind of a fun way to participate. That's
super fun. Yeah. So you kind of brought it up. So if someone is interested in, anybody listening to this is going to be interested. What are we talking? Because you go, well, $5 million for these, $1 million for the blaster, but there's also just like a nice Beretta, or like you said, it's maybe a Henry, but it's not serial number 1. It's something that you can kind of get into.
Absolutely. The A&A sales. If you're looking for the common stuff, Springfield M&Ps, Smith & Wesson M&Ps, Springfield XDs, you can find some really nice SIG P series. So it's very, very, what I would consider like everyday usable guns. To even those A&A sales, you might find some that some of us would consider a pretty darn nice modern gun, like an HK P7 or something like that.
Oh, sure.
maybe a stocked Inglis high power or something like that. So you never know what you're going to find in those, but it's all things for all levels. Like the thing I think I hear online more than anything is, I don't know if I can afford to shop a Rock Island Auction Company. Yes, you can. If you can swing things at your local gun store, you can find things at one of our auctions. Like I said, maybe not a Premier. I don't do much shopping at a Premier auction, but well, I might put a few bids in on some of those arms and accessories auctions.
Gotcha. Okay. So, I mean, that's not necessarily historical or super expensive. I mean, some of the guns you mentioned are, like you said, they're basically kind of like gun store guns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, we take consignments from all types. It's people and people have all types of guns. And oddly, we probably see more of what I would call like sort of everyday guns, just because that's what more people have. You know, with 100 million gun owners in the United States, we're going to see a lot of those guns. And that's why we started making those A&A sales almost monthly, just because of the sheer volume that we start to bring in and those and taking a little bit of piece of that market and bringing those to people.
So is that a case of, could anyone reach out and say, I have some guns I'd like to sell? And do they have to qualify at a certain level? Or if you said, my dad left me 10 guns and I want to get rid of them, is that something that you guys would entertain selling?
Yeah, absolutely. They'll take any size collection, whether it's a single gun, whether it's 1,000 guns. We've had gun stores close and consign their inventory to us, and we've done things that way. So you can receive thousands of guns at any given time. It's all things, it's all levels for sure.
Is it hard finding guns to sell, like getting enough guns to sell, or is the word out on you guys?
It's always a race, for sure. I think like most of us, at least as an American, I really, really like to procrastinate. And so as the deadline to consign gets closer and closer, that's of course when we see most of our guns come in. As we get closer and closer to auction, that's when most of our bids come in for an auction. So I think it's just natural. It always seems like maybe there's not going to, but there usually are. This is actually a year too where we're okay. We had a record-setting year in 2021, and we realized that was going to be difficult to repeat. So this year we were okay with, if an auction was smaller than last year, that's okay.
Mm-hmm. I mean, is it always consignment, or do you guys actually like purchase these guns to sell them?
We can do either or. We prefer to consign because people tend to make more money when they consign. We'll market the heck out of it, and of course, the more money the consigner makes, the more money you make, the more money we make. So that's always nice to be kind of on the same side of the table. But we know sometimes timeframes don't always allow for that. There may be an estate that needs to be settled right away. Someone may need cash in a hurry. That's fine. They can buy collections out as well. And again, that can be gun stores going out of business. That can be somebody with a single gun, 2 guns, what have you. Of course, like anybody, it's you buy a little lower to sell a little higher. So we like to see people consign more to earn more money on their items, but
yeah,
whatever.
So people selling guns, is there like a standard? If they're going, well, how much is there a standard percentage that you guys do, or does it vary depending on what it is?
It does vary depending on the quantity and the quality. The good news is though, it is a flat rate. So it's not like some other auction houses, they may charge extra for photography or insurance while your items are in the building, or storage fees, or who knows. Ours are just that flat percentage off the top, and whatever we can help you make, we will help you make.
So some of these are in person and some of them are or all of them are online, I guess, right?
Yeah, we do host them all online.
Okay. Are some of them in person where they can actually see the guns and like, I mean, especially those higher dollar ones, I would think people would want to be able to get a look at them, right?
Yeah, and it's an event. It really is. That's something I've been trying to get the word out on recently, especially the premier auctions and the S&C. So those larger auction formats that we have, those are generally 3, sometimes 4-day events. And those do have a live audience, so you can come bid in person. You can bid over the phone, online, however it happens. But the day beforehand is always a preview day, like a full day preview.
Oh yeah.
Hop in our facility and you get to look at, for the auction we had last week, it was a 4-day auction. You could have looked at over 7,500 guns. Just walked around.
It's like going to an
Spent the whole day.
awesome gun show.
It really is. I call it the best gun show you've never been to.
Yeah.
It's on par. I feel like it's on par with like all the best gun events in the United States, whether it's NRA show, SHOT, Tulsa, anything like that. I mean, you're never going to see 7,500 guns at your local gun show, unfortunately.
Is this like your place? You guys have like a warehouse or something?
Yeah, we do have a facility here in Rock Island, Illinois.
Wow. Okay. Very cool.
People can come. We're next to an airport. There's hotels nearby. There's all sorts of things.
Right near the airport there, the Quad Cities.
Mm-hmm.
Flown in there several times. Yeah. Very cool. So, okay. So after we do this quick break, I want to talk about if somebody wants to purchase, how does that work and what should they expect? New from the Sig Sauer Custom Works, the 226 X5 Custom. Single action only, 9mm. This is a speed demon. This is the gun that Max Michel has used for years and years to set world records. And I've shot it. It's really, really impressive. If you want a gun that is just ridiculous as far as just fast shooting, accurate, a joy to shoot on the range, check it out. Go over to sigsauer.com to find out more about the P226 X5 from the Sig Custom Works. Ruger has a new gun in the custom shop, the Ruger Precision Rifle. Wait a minute, they already have one. But now they have it in 6.5 Creedmoor, which makes a whole lot of sense. The Ruger Precision Rifle, the RPR, it's kind of known as being that I can't believe it's this good and it doesn't cost that much money kind of gun. Now it's custom shop gun, better trigger, red accents, barricade, stop. They've got all kinds of nice features to it. And in 6.5 Creedmoor, you can really reach out and touch something. Go over to Ruger.com to see more. All right, Joel. So I know people are listening to this, and anyone listening to this is going, okay, yeah, I'm interested. Because they're thinking, well, heck, now he's told me I don't have to spend, my entire mortgage on this. And I could actually maybe find a deal. It's not just buying expensive stuff. I mean, how would this work as far as actually bidding and purchasing a gun that you guys have for auction?
Sure. I like to joke and say we'll take a bid any way you can get it to us except for smoke signals, which is pretty much the truth. You can call them in. We still have paper forms in the back of our catalogs that you can either snail mail or fax in, because we got some old time collectors and that's still how they want to do it. And so we're going to let them still do that. But a lot of people either call in bids, they'll email them to us, or they can just submit them on the website. You can, one of two things you can do on the website prior to auction, you can submit just kind of it's called a sealed bid. So say you knew you wanted, whatever gun you wanted, I'd bid up to $1,000 for that gun. And you type in $1,000 and you might win it for 700. You might win it for 1,000, right on the nose, because a lot of times these values aren't, they're not a secret. We all kind of know what certain guns are worth. So you might put 1,000, you might put +1. So it might be the next bid increment, just so you don't miss out on it on $1,000. They can do that online via the website. You can also request a phone bid on the website, and that's about as easy as it gets. Phone bidding is, you just say, yep, I want a phone bid on this lot number 10. 5 lots beforehand, roughly, one of our representatives here will give you a call and say, hey, your lot's coming up. And
cool.
That's wherever you are. Like if you're on a mobile phone and in an airport, and it doesn't matter, you can be like bidding and buying on guns, which is secretly super awesome.
I like this. It sounds very dangerous.
It is. Ask me how I know.
You guys call me when that one's up. Where's it at? Okay, yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Absolutely. It actually is a way that's pretty nice as far as one, because they'll call you wherever you are. You don't have to be like locked into your computer or anything.
Right.
2, it gives you more flexibility. It's not just like, I want to bid $1,000. If somebody else gets $1,000, you can be on the phone right there and say, yeah, I'll bid 1,100. and then
Right.
you don't miss out on anything. So there's a little extra flexibility in there as well for phone bidding. The last one that they offer is during an auction. There's actually a live audio video stream. We call it React Live. It's something we built in-house a couple of years back, kind of to go along with with COVID and nobody's showing up because they couldn't. A live audio video stream, and you can just kind of click the bid. It's like think of like a glorified instant messenger.
Yeah.
We have somebody like me at Rock Island clicking and telling you where it's at, 750, 800, 850. And if you're like, well, I want to bid 850, then you just click on your computer at home and I see it on my end and I bid for you on your behalf.
Wow. So I'm sure you guys have repeat customers. You have some serious collectors who are always watching what you guys are doing, what's coming up in those premier auctions. Are they typically anonymous, or are there some known quantities that you could talk about that's like, yeah, people would be surprised that this guy is really always in, or this person or whatever? How does that work?
They try to keep a lot of the buyers' privacy pretty tightly wrapped, unless we have, permission to talk about them or interview anything or something like that. But yeah, absolutely. Repeat clients, some choose to come here and show their face. Some choose to always bid on the phone. Some choose to send an agent or representative here to bid live in person, who can take care of the paperwork and handle things sort of right away for them. So it's all things, it's all people, it's all levels.
Going backwards, you mentioned the catalog, and the catalog is an actual printed catalog that you guys mail out, which is really spectacular. I've seen them, I've thumbed through them. Is that something that people can still get on the mailing list for if they wanted to get those to take a look?
The big ones, they're available for purchase. I say purchase like almost in quotes because we're not making any money on those. But they do charge a bit. I think it's $70 for a single catalog. But keep in mind, this is a 3-volume set that we are told frequently rivals a lot of the best gun books that are out there and a lot of the gun photography that's out there.
It's full color. Yeah. The photography is phenomenal, and it's all these gorgeous guns.
The word gun porn has been thrown around.
Right.
But it's
it's neat.
They're beautiful, but it is easy to balk at a $70 catalog. Thankfully, all those pictures and all those images are online. So even if you can't, purchase a catalog set, and it is a 3-volume set, you can still view all the items and all the photography, all the like YouTube videos, everything we're making online.
I think anyone who's ever been to an auction, there's just an energy about an auction. It's very exciting. There's kind of last minute decisions being made of like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to go higher. I'm sure you guys have stories over the years of whether it's in-person stuff or on the phone stuff. Are there last minute changes that are happening? Are there anything that comes to mind since you've been there for 10 years of interesting things that happen during these auctions?
It's always fun to see the room fill up. Because people be kind of doing their own thing. Some people might be, having lunch. Some people might be previewing the items that are available on remaining days. And some people might, just be talking with other gun buddies and whatever. But when some of these big guns come around, like last December, we had a 6-piece, it was a garniture set that belonged to Napoleon Bonaparte. 2 pocket pistols, 2 essentially dueling pistols, a carbine and a sword. And when things like that come up, or Han Solo's blaster, or any of these big, that place just fills up. The phones, start filling up the phone banks, and we're calling all the bidders who want to be bidding on there. And it's just a buzz. It's just a buzz in the room, and that's for big items. But I tell you what, that's not when your item's on the line. When it's the item you want, it's coming up. You're like, okay, 2 lots away, and the old ticker starts going, and it's time to bid on your gun. To me, that's more fun.
And the preview day, anyone can go to that?
Yeah, open to the public, absolutely. It's
Do you guys
usually a full
sell?
day. It's either 9 or 10 in the morning, depending on the event.
Okay. Do you guys sell admission to that, or how does that work?
Nope, just stop by.
Oh, wow.
Stop by.
Very
They'll
cool.
check you in. They probably get like a driver's license or something, so they know who you are, and they'll give you a badge. You can walk around. But then you basically get to walk around a massive, massive room filled with thousands of guns.
That's
To
fantastic.
pick them up, touch them, inspect them. It's I mean, one, you got to know what you're buying, right? Like if you're going to drop hard-earned money on stuff, you got to be able to inspect it and buy it. But two, it's just even if you're not buying anything, we usually encourage people to come out. It's an education
Hmm.
to see, this Winchester versus that Winchester, and why is this one priced $500 more than this one? Like, what are the condition levels I'm looking at, or how much? Why does this one have these special features? Or okay, that's what it looks like compared to a this type of special feature or a standard feature. It's just, and where else could you hold 2 or 3 Henry rifles and compare them next to each other? Like it's really an opportunity. If you don't have to, like I said, buy a single thing. It's just really a chance to, if you're a student of firearms, to come and really see things you may never see again.
And obviously, being an auction, I mean, the bidders really determine the worth of this stuff. But how do you guys kind of figure that out? I mean, do you have people on staff? Are they there during the auctions, during the preview days, as far as like historians or gun experts?
Yeah, we have our specialists here. They we call them our describers because they are literally describing every single item that's in our catalog. So they're giving it a headline, they're describing it, they're giving it a condition statement. At least in our premier auctions, they're all giving that sort of thing from afar. And yeah, they're looking at every single one. And we have various specialists. One guy might prefer class 3, one guy might prefer flintlock and frontier era things, another might prefer U.S. military arms. So it's going to have specialties and people who can more easily recognize that and speak to that with expertise.
Gotcha. Okay. Um, so Joel, after this quick break, I want to talk about how do you find these really unique guns? And then we also have to talk about the next premier auction because I'm online, I'm thumbing through the catalog, and I'm drooling.
Yeah.
We're talking about historical guns on this particular episode of Gun Talk Nation. Springfield Armory recently released a brand new sort of historical gun, the SA-35. And it's a throwback to John Moses Browning, bringing it into the 21st century. The new SA-35 gives today's shooters a modern take on an iconic design, going back to the P-35 high power. Yes, but it's upgraded with top-grade materials, cutting-edge engineering and construction, and high-end performance. If you want to see more, go over to Springfield-Armory.com. Franklin Armory, known for binary triggers, one of my favorites that I've shot from them is for 1022s. Yes, semi-automatic 22 rifle, the Ruger 1022. Now you can put in their binary trigger, which is called the BFS 322-C1. It's a lot of words, a lot of numbers, but basically you pull the trigger, it goes bang. You release the trigger, it goes bang. But it does have a selector switch where you can cancel that second shot. And you want to talk about shooting fast with a 22 and having some fun, this is the way to do it. Obviously, when you're going to burn through ammo, it's kind of nice when it's 22 and it doesn't cost as much. So go over to FranklinArmory.com, find out more, put a new trigger in your 1022 and shoot really fast. All right. So, I mean, you could talk about Han Solo's blaster or Ulysses S. Grant guns. How do you find these guns?
A lot of times, I mean, we do have a department. It's our acquisitions department. They work hard. They work hard for something that a lot of people don't want to do, is give up your guns or sell a gun. Sometimes that's never fun, but there comes a time in your life when maybe you're paring down a collection. You gotta, maybe you're trying to sell 4 to get 1 to like upgrade on one level.
Right.
So it's all things. They work really hard. They're making calls. They're following up with people. Sometimes it takes years, but a lot of times people find us. Like I said, it's the #1 firearms auction house in the world. I think we're bigger than our next 6 or 7 competitors combined,
Wow.
and then some. So people know where to go. when it's time to sell big ticket items. It also helps when you sell one big ticket item and then others kind of come out of the woodwork.
Right. Sure.
I mean, we've all heard of it's like Singer 1911 pistols, like only 500 made. World War II, it's basic unobtainium. We sold one a couple years back, over $400,000. And when people heard that, for as rare as Singers are, they started to come out of the woodwork.
Yeah. All of a sudden there's 600 Singers being sent to you. You're like, wait a minute. Singer with a little Dremel tool. You spelled Singer wrong.
Yeah. A Singer with 4 E's, like, oh, well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But good legitimate Singers started to come out of the woodwork, and we're like, you have to slow them down a little bit, the way they're brought. Because
Sure.
it's very easy when something like that happens to make something very uncommon seem common.
Yeah,
We've actually
that's a good
dealt with
point.
that probably this year with Winchester 1 of 100 rifles. Everybody knows kind of the 1 of 1,000, the Winchester 73 and
Mhm.
76, but the 1 of 100s are even fewer made, and had one, I think, in the last 3 auctions, which is when something happens with that frequency to make it to seem as special as it truly is.
That's so cool. Well, okay, so you have these people, and it's probably I would assume that it's kind of a long road to maybe even someone has certain guns that are really neat, but they're not ready to sell them yet. So you got to wait until they're kind of in that mode.
Mhm.
All right. So let's talk about the next premier auction, because that's where the really amazing stuff is happening. When is it happening? Because people would probably like to get a look at this, and I'm thumbing through the catalog for it. And we got to talk about a few of the guns that you guys are going to be selling.
Sure. Well, the good news is that's December 9th, 10th, and 11th. Like I said, we're going to have about 5 auctions before Christmas. 4 of those arms and accessories auctions, and then this big premiere one, December 9th, 10th, and 11th. The good news is what you're thumbing through on our website is probably this guy. We have we call it like a highlight portfolio. It's 16 pages. This we actually send out to every single person on our mailing list, just sort of as a teaser, if you will, for things that are coming up in the next big premiere auction. It sounds like it's working. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely whets the appetite. Theodore Roosevelt's factory engraved Rough Rider Smith & Wesson new model number 3. Yeah, it's kind of mind-blowing, really, when you think about that. If you've got any interest in history, then you've got a pistol here that, if I'm reading this right, well, I say a revolver, that has a tie to Sitting Bull.
Yep, that one. It's hard. The provenance isn't as ironclad on that one, but it's not one of those things you can dismiss outright either. It's a funny spot to be as an auction house, because if it's true, you don't want that story to be lost to potential buyers. So you just disclose what it is, disclose what it isn't, disclose the history as best you have it, and let people take a chance on it. The estimate on it is appropriate for a gun holes in the provenance, but there's still something to it. But yeah, it's not priced. I mean, if it was 100% the gun and could be proven by serial number, that gun would be in the millions for sure.
Yeah.
But with the documents we have, what we can say that definitively is, we have it estimated at less.
So Joel, and you were talking about, do you guys list beforehand what you kind of the ballpark you think that these will be priced at?
Yep. Part of the auction catalog, like I said, we'll have a headline, a description, a condition statement. So we'll rate the condition for people who can't actually see it in person. And then we will give a pre-auction estimate.
Okay. So kind of know what they're getting into.
Yeah.
Very cool. So this is just a whole nother realm of gun lore, gun culture for people, and the collecting side, the historical side. I love that even if you aren't going to be purchasing this stuff, you can still kind of explore it, whether you show up for a preview or you just go on the site and see. If someone wants to see more about what you guys do, maybe get a little sneak peek at what's possible, what you could be buying, where do they go, Joel?
We can find us, of course, as the social media guy. I will, of course, direct people to almost any social media channel we have: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, you name it. We're probably, if you want to place bids, if you want to see what's actually coming up in auction, it's always our website is the best.
So rockislandauction.com is where you go to find out more, or look them up on any of the social media places out there. Joel, thanks for being on with us. This has really been educational and fun to talk about.
It's good to be on the show.
Very cool. So there you go. If you want to get in on this, go check it out, rockislandauction.com. That's it for us, and we will see you next time on Gun Talk Nation.